for listening to Uncle Sam's Soccer Podcast, keeping you up to date with the latest in American soccer. And don't forget to subscribe.
Hello everyone, welcome to Uncle Sam's Soccer Podcast. My name is Steven Jodorant. Joining me today, as always, Jake Watroba and Armand Kafai. On today's episode, we continue the U.S. men's national team chat. Now, before we get to today's discussion, go back and listen to the conversation we had with latest joining contributor to the show, Jason, in which we chat the U23s, Tyler Adams, and the upcoming friendly versus Ecuador. If you haven't done so already, follow us on the Twitter machine at UncSamSoccerPod. You can find the show on any major podcast platform, so make sure you hit that subscribe button and give us a 5-star review. Now, let's get to today's show. Alrighty, fellas, full lineup here. How we doing today?
Doing pretty good. Persian New Year, so had to go out, say what's up to the family. Celebrate the Persian New Year. But outside of that, doing pretty good. How are you, Jake?
Doing fantastic. It's warm outside relative to what us Northerners think. Snow's melting. All my dog poop's coming up. It's all soupy and gross. So, couldn't be better. Happy I had to clean it up.
Oh, there you go. Hey, U.S. men's national team. We're going to continue this conversation. A couple interesting friendlies coming up. Tonight, actually, against Ecuador in Orlando. And then next Tuesday against Chile. Now, Armand, you were on yesterday's show. Listeners, highly recommend you go listen to the show with Jason. Had some interesting takes there. But let's begin with the U23s, because that seems to have had quite a bit of reaction. Taylor Twellman tweets out, such an important job for the U.S. men's national team development that our youngest players play meaningful games with pressure on the international scene. Not every national team needs the Olympics, but the U.S. men's national team does, and Christ is now the man to get that job done. What's your initial reaction to the Christ hire and just overall the direction of the U23s?
With Christ, people are going to say it's a terrible take. Orlando City is terrible, but they're still pretty terrible, and they're worse than James O'Connor. So, is it really his fault? We have to see a little bit more of a sample size. But with Christ, you bring a guy with MLS experience. I want to see if he adapts. If he adapts and, takes guidance under a guy that's, above him and, maybe emphasis a little bit more like Berhalter, I think it can be very, helpful to the pipeline to get a player from the U23s to the national team. But outside of that, I'm a little bit more concerned about how our national team is setting up. I understand our U23s need to be better off, but look, our national team is still, recovering from the missing the World Cup. So,
what's more important,
my thought,
the Olympics or the Gold Cup?
The simple fact that we haven't qualified for the last two Olympics, I would say the Olympics are probably more important than the Gold Cup right now.
For confidence-wise, it's gonna be Gold Cup. For future-wise, it's the Olympics.
For confidence, you really think the Gold Cup boosts that much confidence with the national team?
Yes, because this team missed the World Cup. They need anything to boost them up. So if you're gonna get a trophy out of it, screw it. You know what? It's a confidence booster. It's a first trophy under a coach. Okay, if they have 1 foot in the final, who cares? It's still a trophy. It's still a confidence booster. You win a tournament. You win a major tournament. It's good. It's gonna be a confidence booster. So yes, I think it is important for.
Armand, regarding some U23 names, before we move on to the Tyler Adams move to right back, are there names that you like with the U23 call-ups that you think we should pay attention to?
Jordi Mihalovic, man, it was pretty dynamic in those friendlies, and he's going to call up to U23s. I want to see how he's like on that level versus the senior team level. I want to see if he's way better than that level, then he should be on a senior team. If he's not, then he should be on the U23. So I'm interested to see how he's going to do in the lineup.
Let me ask you this, because Jason brought it up on yesterday's show. Keane Parks hasn't been playing much with NYCFC. He's obviously on loan from Benfica. But he thinks he could be a player to watch. This is a big opportunity for the Plano native, but more generally, he could be a player in the midfield in the next 10 years, right?
Man, he needs this. I mean, for lack of a better word, he needs this. I mean, currently, James Sands at NYCFC, playing that sixth role has, pushed Alexander Ring up the pitch to be more of a box-to-box guy. So he needs this because I don't know if he'll break in anytime soon to the NYCFC lineup. He needs this playing time. So I think the U.S. men's national team wants to see where he's at because he's a very intriguing frame. He's a massive guy. Not really good defensively, but better in that box-to-box role. I mean, I don't know if I can agree as a deep line playmaker. I mean, I think he's much better higher up the pitch. In Benfica, he generally struggled at the sixth role, and he likes being higher up the pitch. So, I mean, I can't really agree with Jason on that one, and we'll probably just banter about it on Twitter back and forth. But it is a big opportunity for him to, say, hey, I'm still doing well. I'm still, for him to showcase for potential suitors because, I mean, he's still only on loan and he didn't make the 18 last match. So it's a big moment for him.
All right, Aman, let's talk about Tyler Adams' move to right back for the national team. I want to pull out a quote here from a Pro Soccer USA story from Tyler Adams. He says, "We've had Skype calls with tactics on the Skype call, which I don't even know, or I didn't even know you can do," Adams said. "He's ahead of time in his technology phase. But it's been good. There's graphics and stuff like that, the movements and stuff like that, so I can try to understand and grasp the role before I come into camp." Arman, is it not promising that our national team coach is having Skype calls with players to discuss tactics, their roles, and his expectations for them?
It's Greg Berhalter. I wouldn't expect anything different. This is what he does. This is exactly what he does. It's very encouraging. He's a very tactical-minded guy from conversations I had with players that have been called up. Very tactical guy. Really cares that, how you play in your role. We saw that in Columbus. It was very instructive. I think instruction-based. Having specific roles for specific players. I mean, all these are huge, and it's very encouraging. Because, maybe the people on Twitter can stop freaking out that Tyler Adams is playing right back. I don't know. I don't know why people are surprised by that.
Is anybody surprised that, or is anybody a little perplexed by the fact that Tyler Adams didn't realize that you could do some interesting stuff on Skype? Am I the only one that knew that you could put up graphics and screen share and share documents like on Google Docs, how the three of us or in three different locations, yet we're all on the same document and reading the same quotes? Like, could Jurgen Klinsmann and Bruce Arena not figure that out? They didn't have an intern to say, hey, maybe you could try this with somebody overseas?
I'm willing to bet that because Tyler Adams is, 20 years old? That he probably never had to use Skype. He probably, just went straight to FaceTime. Where I don't believe you have that option on FaceTime. I could be wrong. But that's just what I think. But anyways, Arman, I wanted to get your thoughts on this real quickly here before we move on. Give us your general takeaways from Adams moving to right back. Is this good for the national team? And, is Yedlin as a winger, what can we expect from him? I guess we'll let you answer Tyler Adams first and then transition into Yedlin.
Yeah. So, I mean, if people are surprised with Adams being a right back, you honestly haven't been watching U.S. soccer. I mean, I'm going to be very straight up with you. You did not watch the friendlies. You did not listen to anyone saying anything. Like, straight up, you're just – I don't know how you're surprised by this. I genuinely cannot comprehend how someone's surprised by this move because Adams is comfortable at playing at right back. He's obviously comfortable in the middle. You're going to have a midfield trio of probably Michael Bradley, Pulisic, and McKennie. You want to fit McKennie and Adams at least in one of those roles. So what you're going to do, you're going to put Adams on the right back, have him tuck it in possession. It makes sense, right? He goes up and down the pitch as a box-to-box guy for Leipzig. What is he going to do at the right back, go up and down the pitch, tuck into the middle? I don't understand why people are surprised, and it really blows my mind that people are surprised. But it is what it is, and I think Adams will do really well in that role because he played right back at Red Bull, and he covered for the mistakes made people. He's comfortable in the middle, so that's why I feel at Adams. With Yedlin playing winger, I believe he can probably add a boost. Off the bench, maybe even start, the dynamic pace. Look, Yedlin, I don't think technically is better than Adams. I really don't think so. He can go up and down the pitch. He's very quick. He's very pacey. He can lump balls in the box as he's been doing with Newcastle. He might be used in a lot of people making this comparison. He might be used the same way as Klinsmann did in 2014 off the bench. I don't think it's a bad move, and I honestly agree with exactly what Berhalter's vision is. So I'm not surprised by any of it, to be quite honest with you.
Are we supposed to be nervous that Yedlin doesn't know how to play the position of right back?
No, because it's not the position of right back. He's moving in centrally. Look, Nick Lima did it, but Nick Lima was trained for like 2 or 3 weeks before it happened. You only have you have like 3 or 4 days. It's not concerning. I think it's just a unique system. Players fit different systems differently. It's nothing concerning. It's just a preference.
Jake, you any concern with you?
I have no concerns with this move, and I like that. Again, we're trying this out before we play any really meaningful matches. Look, with Berhalter's tactics, you want a guy who can play midfield at right back. I mean, let's be real. If Tyler Adams needs to tuck in and act as a midfielder, he's better equipped to do that than DeAndre Yedlin. And Adams has the experience playing right back with New York Red Bulls. So I think this is a good move for the national team. And if it doesn't work out, hey, it doesn't work out. We go back to the drawing board then. But
I agree.
I think for right now, it's a good chance to see if playing Tyler Adams at right back makes the national team, makes the attack a little bit more dynamic.
This is a great transition into the overall meaning of the friendly. Obviously, Berhalter here is testing his lineup, his tactics. Are we in agreement that this is clearly not the full 100% U.S. men's national team best 11 that Berhalter is tinkering with because of the U23 call-ups?
I'm not sure if Sargent or Weah or a couple of those guys would really start on this team, to be honest with you. I don't know about you, Jake, but I don't think they'd start on this team, no?
I don't think they would. However, I still think I still would prefer to see Weah on this team over.
That's your boy, isn't it?
Look, man, I don't know. Play the kids. That's what I say. Just play the kids. I just think Timothy Weah has the ability to be one of the best players for this national team over the next 10 years. And you can say, he needs to develop. He's on loan at Celtic. He's not even starting at Celtic, and I get that. But for a guy who's probably going to be one of the mainstays in this national team, and depending upon how, Berhalter, he could be the national team coach beyond 2022. I think you would want Timothy Weah to be getting as much time as possible in the system so he knows it, so he knows when he comes into the team how to perform, where to be, and what his role is.
I think it's pretty, maybe not full strength, but I think it's pretty freaking close to it.
So overall with the friendly guys, what players are we excited to see most?
I'm most excited to see Gyasi Zardes, mainly because of how well he performed under Berhalter at Columbus Crew. You look at his stats from last year, 2018, 33 appearances, 19 goals, 2 assists in 2,948 minutes with Greg Berhalter and the Columbus Crew. I'm excited to see how he performs. And he was kind of tossed to the sidelines a little bit over the last couple of years with the national team. And now that Greg Berhalter is the head coach, we might see a different Gyasi Zardes.
It has to be Weston McKennie for me. I want to see how he pairs up with Pulisic in that middle role. It was really interesting when you saw Roldan and Mihalovic do it. Obviously, you'd probably have McKennie be more of going up the pitch, higher. He's played almost every position for Schalke. I'm really intrigued to see how he's going to do as a playmaker, especially because in the academy days, when he was at Dallas, a lot of people were talking about his playmaking ability and how he might be better going up the pitch than defensively. So I'm interested to see how McKinney's going to do, especially paired with Pulisic and having that cover of a Bradley or a Trapp.
We talk a lot about Christian Pulisic being the most talented player, but is he the most important player in this Greg Berhalter system, or just overall with the U.S. men's national team?
You're trying to make us transition to our hot takes, man. You got to slow it down. We want to hear your excited player first, and then we're going to go to those hot takes.
Yeah, that's a good point. The player or players I'm most excited to see is actually Morris and Zardes. I'm not necessarily excited to see. I'm curious with Morris because of the injury, and Jake kind of pissed that he got called up. So just to piss and annoy Jake off, I want him to score a couple of goals. So then Jake can just eat his words.
Look, man, he hasn't been good for Seattle Sounders in 2 years, and I get it. He tore his ACL last year, but come on, man, he has not
Hot
been
start,
very good
3 goals
recently.
and assist.
Well, we're happy for him. Great, 3 goals. The Portland Timbers are also one of the worst teams in MLS right now.
Yeah, and
things can change. Things can change.
All right, so Morris, please, just from the bottom of my heart, score 2 goals, get an assist or something. Do something good, so then we could just roast Jake over it, because your predictions tend to go south very quickly. The other player, Zardes, again, I think to allude to Jake, where are the goals going to come from with this U.S. men's national team? We have youngsters, but Zardes, who knows the Greg Berhalter system, he was productive last season with the Crew. Can he take that next step, and at least for the 2022 World Cup, be that guy, that go-to guy? Because Josie Altidore, Armand, is he that go-to guy when the U.S. men's national team need a goal?
I think in the system, yes, he can be.
Altidore or Zardes?
Look, the big thing about Berhalter's system is he's really specific on what the forward needs to do. I think Altidore and Zardes can both excel in the system of Berhalter's.
So they're interchangeable, you're saying?
Maybe I wouldn't say interchangeable, but I would prefer Altidore over Zardes. But I think, especially with how Berhalter wants his guys, a lot of Zardes' goals are some tap-ins here or there.
But the advantage is Zardes just because he knows the system.
Right, but I mean, you get a couple games here or there. If you get those Skype tactical calls that Berhalter gives you at 12 a.m., you know what? He hits you up that "you up" text, Josie, and then Josie, is like, "Yeah, I'm up," and you talk about some tactics.
Josie would be more like new number. Who dis?
Shakes.
Fellas, we begin another set of friendlies, fellas, with the U.S. men's national team. Ecuador and Chile got the Gold Cup in the summer. Armand thinks we're going to win the World Cup in 22. Jake thinks we're not going to win the Gold Cup in 2019. But overall, this U.S. men's national team, if you were to sum up a take right now, what would it be?
First and foremost, you got my prediction wrong. I said they would win the Gold Cup in 2019. Second of all, my hot take is Josie Zardes is one of the most important players for this national team over the course of the next 4 years as we get ready for Qatar 2022.
Why?
I just think that under Greg Berhalter, I think Berhalter's kind of unlocked Zardes, if you will. Last year, like I said, 19 goals, 2 assists with the Columbus Crew with Berhalter at the helm. I think Josie Zardes playing at the top there. You know what? I'm going to come on and say it. I think right now Josie Zardes is a better fit than Josie Altidore is right now.
Oh, we just talked about it for a couple minutes ago. Why didn't you chime in?
Well, let's let Armand have his fun. Let him make his points. Let you guys talk about that whole thing. But I think Josie Zardes is more important to this national team than I think people give him, or I think people are willing to. I don't even know how to even word this correctly. I think when people look at this national team, they assume that Christian Pulisic, Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams, John Brooks, even Zach Steffen, those are the most important players for this national team. And I think Josie Zardes gets overlooked because he's not the big name player, because he doesn't play for a big team in Europe, or he's not playing in the Bundesliga. I think he gets overlooked, and I think Josie Zardes might be your starting striker for the next 4 years.
Oh, there you go. At Jake Watroba. Armand, what's your big overall take regarding this U.S. men's national team?
I mean, specifically to Berhalter's system, I think we hate on Michael Bradley. We hate on Will Trapp. I mean, I don't care who plays that 6th role, but whoever plays it better be pretty freaking good because that role is important. It allows those midfield players to go up and down the pitch. It allows, when that right back tucks in, it gives them a partner in the midfield. It'll allow a team to help dictate position. That number 6 role in Berhalter's system is so crucial. And it's honestly why I want to see Michael Bradley be in that role for at least the next couple of years. I don't think there's anyone, and Jake mentioned this on the pod yesterday or a couple days ago. Hey, this team is not deep in that role. I'm interested to see who can step up and say, I want that number 6 role. Give it to me. I want a number 6 they know that no one's looking at right now saying, hey, I can fit this. I can be a part of the national team. Because that role is very important. Just look at the people that Greg keeps calling up. Just Michael Bradley and Will Trapp. Michael Bradley and Will Trapp. If you're a player and you're looking for a spot, that 6 role is perfect. You need to go for it. You need to gun it. Because if you're better than Will Trapp, you can get that spot. I know it. So I think my biggest takeaway is, hey, that center defensive mid role is very important for our whole system, and I think a player is going to come out and steal it.
So at Armand Kafai. Listeners, follow us on the Twitter machine at UncSamSoccerPod. You can find the latest news, notes from the show there. Find us on any major podcast platform. Respond to anything you heard. I want to hear what you think. Do you disagree, agree with us? And enjoy the games. We'll be back next week.